Ding,
Mr.
ding,
Jason.
ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
Jason, you still
Mr.
haven't
Craig.
cleaned the room.
No.
It's a
No,
mess
I'm
back
not going to
there.
do it.
But there is a beautiful picture on the wall.
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it,
Never gonna get it.
never gonna get it.
Aren't you going to ask me, Mr. Jason?
Oh, Mr. Craig, who do we have today?
Well, this is from our special Loan Officer series.
Ooh,
We have
I'm
Mike.
feeling a little alone in my house.
Well, aren't we all? We have Mike Mortgage Jones going pro with football shows, baseball throws, and loan officer flows.
Who knows? Let's goes.
Let's go.
Faux shows.
Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
Boom.
All right. Mike Jones.
Yes,
Mike
sir.
Jones.
How you doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm good. Just adjusting to everyday life. I know a lot has changed for us all. It's challenging, I should say.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are you home and with family around you?
Yes. I'm home. 2 young kids, wife, so 2 dogs. It's a party all day long.
Isn't it just delightful?
Right. Exactly.
Well, before we dive in, and I don't know if you've listened to Insurance Dudes at all, but the first question we ask everybody is, what was the first concert you went to? And you can go way back. You could have been a little kid.
Oh, that's a good one. First concert I went to. Man. I went
It's a tough
to
one. Barney?
No, so I'm originally from Texas.
Dang.
And I went to the rodeo. It's a big deal out there in Houston area. And they always have a huge celebrity. And I remember when I was in the 9th grade, Destiny's Child was there.
Wow.
Which they're originally from Houston too. Yeah, this is in
that's a big
Houston
deal.
Astrodome. Yeah, it was a big deal. I remember that. But as an adult, I went to a Jay-Z concert and I went to a Maxwell concert, which was really good, surprisingly good.
Nice.
And yeah, that's about it.
Well, cool.
Wow,
Well,
you
welcome
doing some
welcome to the
good
Insurance
stuff.
Dudes. So
Yeah.
you're actually not an insurance dude, but you work
I am not.
you work closely, likely, with some insurance dudes. And one of the things that we're doing is we branch out and provide more value to our audience, the insurance dudes and dudettes out there. Is loan officers are huge in what the resources that and knowledge they have, and how there's that intersection of our industries, right?
Right.
I mean, some of our best clients come from our centers of influence, being loan officers, realtors, and such. So we love you to tell a little bit about your background, how you got into the business, and we'll then go from there.
You want the long version or the short version?
Whatever.
In between. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we're all in lockdown.
right. Exactly. We have time.
Yeah, right.
So just my story, I guess. Like I said, born and raised in Houston, Texas. I came out to Arizona on a football scholarship. I played at Arizona State, but I also played baseball as well. So I played 2 sports in college.
Nice.
I played professionally both sports as well. Got drafted in baseball and played in the NFL for 2.5 years.
Wow.
And then,
That's incredible.
a lifetime ago. I'm sorry.
For the Cardinals?
Cardinals were my last team, actually. So for the
Okay.
Texans, Seattle, and the Arizona Cardinals.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. What's up? So bounced around 3 teams in 2 years. Played in the Gulf Coast League in Tampa, Florida. Got drafted by the Yankees in baseball.
Wow.
Wow.
And then my phone stopped ringing. So I realized, okay, well, football might be coming to an end. And then it took some time to accept that and learn that you got to find something else now. That plan B
That's
that your
tough,
parents
huh?
been talking about. Oh yeah, it is tough. It's more mental than anything, but yes, it is tough. But I always was taught that there's more to life other than sports, and you always have to have a plan B, C, D, E, and F, G. And then again, my phone stopped ringing, and I got a job working at the W Hotel in Scottsdale. Just something part-time, consistent income. Had time to stay in shape just in case if the phone rang. Didn't ring. and I met someone, got into corporate security. I did that for a few years. Then I became an executive admin at the same company for a few years, and then was expecting a baby, and I always knew that I wasn't going to do that forever, and I've always looked forward for a challenge, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And during this whole time, I've always coached kids and trained kids. I've been doing it going on 10 years now, and I've always loved giving back and helping people. And one of the kids I was coaching, his father was in the mortgage business. My now boss told me about what he does and what the mortgage business is all about. And he said I'd be a good fit, good people person. Got a little bit of a story. So I studied, got my license, and I've been doing it ever since. And I love it. I wish I would have done it a lot sooner. Because just the fact that you get to help people every day is different. It's challenging, and it allows me to have the flexibility to be super dad, which is my ultimate goal and my why for everything. It's just I want to be just super dad. Mainly because back to my story, I'm single, only child raised by a single mother. So I've always had pride in when I become a father, I'm gonna take it to another level.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
You're likely very competitive, right?
I mean, it's natural, I guess.
To make it to professional sports, though, I mean, you were in high school the best of the best, and then you get to college, and maybe it's a little more challenging, but still, for you to make the step from college to NFL, you had to be the best of college, and it must, like, each level must have been so interesting to see, like, oh shit, there's a lot of guys that are freaking fast. Like, you get to the NFL and it's like a whole nother thing, right? I mean,
exactly.
Just so fast.
Yeah, and I was just going to hit on that. People, like, when you go to the next level from high school, the jump from high school to college, yes, it is a change in speed and just everything, really. But the jump from college to the NFL, it's a whole nother ball game when you get up there. Like, we're talking about grown men that are feeding their family and making a ton of money, and it's more than competitive. It's like a lifestyle, and people think all they see is money of what they see on TV and turn on SportsCenter and ESPN. Oh, such and such is making $10 million a year. You know what? In the third quarter, when it's 3rd and 15 and he's exhausted, he's not thinking about how much money he's making. He's thinking about making the play and beating the man in front of him, and that consistently happens every single play. And people don't look at that. They just look at the paycheck, which is a grind out there. And I encourage people, if you ever have the opportunity to stand on the sidelines for an NFL game or get really good seats, those first like 10 rows, watch the speed of the game. You tell me if you can go out there and perform. And it blows people's mind. So that's just something that I like, put things in perspective for people from my experience.
You know, we talked to Mikey Taylor, professional skateboarder, and I find it real interesting. My mom was also, she was in the Junior Olympics, and she kind of went through this transitional phase, especially recently, where she stopped doing being athletic. You know what I mean? Where she got out of aerobics after that, and it's incredible what happens. I played music when I was young, and you know, would go on tour with bands and stuff. I mean, it wasn't anything incredible, but it was like, I really thought I was going to do music my whole life. It was one of those passion things. And I think like football, baseball, the Olympic, or, you know, gymnastics or whatever it may be, you have these passion things that you do. And it's like, you dedicate your life. You think about it all the time. You eat, breathe, everything. And then at some point you do something else. And it's like, dude, your identity is so wrapped up in this thing, and it's like all of a sudden you have to do like a mind change. And it's like when you were talking about how hard it was going out of football, I was like, like that is an incredible change for someone.
It is an incredible change. It's something that you're not familiar with. Like, that was the part, just accepting, okay, well, I don't have the structure of, I have a meeting at this time, I have practice at this time, I have a game at this time. I didn't have that anymore. And I'm such a very structured person. I had to find out what else works for me. What else can I do to structure my life? And that's one of the things I've been working on, even with my current job, of just building structure of what I do. And me personally, I thrive better when I have like a schedule, I should say.
Mm.
Nice.
Interesting. My daughter did gymnastics, got to level 10. She was right at the point where scholarships and all that kind of stuff. And then she got injured and she said, look, I can't do it anymore. You know,
Yeah.
I was at the point like, I will buy you a brand new Jeep if you just finish this thing, you know, because
Right.
college. And she's like, no, I wish I had a new Jeep, but that's how much I don't want to do it anymore. I can't because I'm
Yeah,
just in so much pain. But,
right.
but like she took that structure that you speak of, you know, and it was like she was able to apply that to school and just like boom, boom, straight A's. Just really use that in your experience. And then like, how did you take your structure and the way that you've been almost programmed, right? Because you've done it for so long, and apply it to this industry, which is very similar to ours, where there's almost no structure. And the only way, you know, like you have to create the structure yourself.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That was a challenging part because I just expected things to be already structured.
Yeah.
And when I caught myself stressing more and I caught myself losing things and being unorganized, I did my homework and talked to some people that have been doing it for a while. Like, what made you successful? How did you get to where you are? And that's what they said: time blocks, set your schedules, own your time. Don't just change things just because your phone rings. Stay the course, and it's going to relieve stress. Your business is going to be a lot better. Your services are going to be a lot better. You'll just feel better. You'll sleep better, and that's kind of what I've been doing over the past couple of years, is try to keep to my schedule, my time blocks, and then nowadays it's it's almost like I'm starting from the beginning because I have 2 young kids and they have homeschool. So I have time blocks of homeschool for like an hour and a half, 3 times a day. And then on top of it, I have to do my job full time. And then my wife's busy as well. So it's just like, yeah, but we're figuring it out.
Yeah. So how
Nice.
has it been? Like as you get to the next level in this business, like what kind of things are you doing as a loan officer to find business, to grow your business?
To be honest, I've always been a huge relationship guy. Before this all happened, I try to have my like tour of local coffee shops and just meet people once a day and just build relationships with those people. And I don't always look for business. I like to have conversations. I like to learn other people's stories and their why, and why they are who they are and how they get to where they are. And if business comes from that, fantastic. If not, then no worries. At least I learned it. And I always end the things with, what can I do to help others? And what can I do to achieve your goals? So I've networked a lot with like coffee meetings. Lately, I've done a couple of Zoom calls, but personally, it's not the same, but it is something. Obviously, social media, that helps with building business. But other than that, that's the core of how I build my business now. As of late, and with this whole curveball with the world now,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find other creative ways to do it.
Awesome. I'd like to jump into I know going back to what Craig said originally. I know our two worlds definitely collide, right? The insurance and loan officer mortgage industry. What experience have you had with insurance agents?
Oh, quite a bit. I have a few of them. No, what's the funny part is, I actually thought about going into insurance when I was on that crossing roads. Like, what do I want to do? Mortgages? Do I want to be a full-time coach? Do I want to go insurance? I started studying for the exam, and then I started studying the other exam, and it just clicked more for me.
Totally.
But yeah, I have a few insurance partners that I use, obviously mostly for homeowners insurance, because people will get under contract and looking for the best rates possible for homeowners insurance, or if I really need something to make the deal work. I have a few people that help me out with that and shopping other companies. But other than that, that's the most interaction I get with insurance guys like yourselves. And I also have a former teammate that works for an insurance company, and that I bounce ideas off of, and just to get his opinion on things that I may not be the most educated about.
So that's great. So you work with some insurance dudes. How did you cultivate those relationships? Did they approach you? Did you approach them?
A little bit of both. Like I said, social media, I try to make a presence there, and people will reach out and if would love to have coffee with me because they see that I'm having coffee with other people, and they'll be insurance guys or gals, I should say. So that's another way. And um, one of my main ladies, she was a referral from an old manager that I used to have, and she's been doing insurance for I think as long as I've been alive. So I lean on her a lot when I have questions, and she's always available with any questions that I have, even text, phone call, email, anytime. So that's again, that's pretty much all I really do with insurance. But at the same time, I know it makes or breaks my deals. That's for sure.
And
How,
how, yeah, how many insurance guys or girls hit you up to try to develop those relationships? And what would you say would stand out to develop those relationships? Like, what would catch your attention?
Um, I mean, it used to be quite often, not as much anymore. Um, but for them to get my attention, like I like to meet in person first. Maybe if it is social media or something, there's something that we can relate to that draws me in or my attention, children, athletic background, et cetera, et cetera. That kind of breaks the ice to meet in person, and then I just like to click with people. It's not always about what they have to offer, the cheapest price, highest price, the service. Just clicking with people and building relationships where we can work together and achieve one main goal of helping other people, helping other people and protecting other people.
Love it.
so as other folks, they make this choice and they're on the fence whether to go into insurance or go into possibly being a loan officer. What
Hmm.
kind of advice would you give to somebody that was interested in entering your industry?
Be patient. Be patient.
The one thing
Be
that nobody wants to be.
exactly.
Right.
Be patient. Be consistent, and those are the biggest things, really. Just being patient because it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen when you want it to happen. But if you're patient and consistent and work hard, it'll eventually happen. You'll eventually achieve your goals, or at least you'll see a light at the end of the tunnel. Because my first year, it was a grind. That's for sure.
Well,
It's an eye opener.
yeah. How was it a grind? What kind of things happened that made it really
it,
challenging?
it's it's a huge learning curve because
Uh-huh.
in my world that the guidelines are changing all the time, and you always have to learn new things almost daily, because if you don't, it can change whether a loan will close or not. So that was a big part of it, and just trial and error, learning from your mistakes. That was another thing that I wasn't really used to, I should say. Like I messed up maybe once in the past doing whatever I was doing, but I figured it out the second time. Here, there's always something that you have to go through or learn just to make things happen, so you feel more comfortable down the road. Because it might be one way to solve a problem, but next time you can be presented with the same problem, but you need to solve it a different way. So just learning, getting educated, trial and error. Um, Not making as much money as you thought you were going to make. If you do have a family, I'm sure you're going to get an earful when you get home. Things like that. That was a part of the struggle and the grind that I had to go through. But again, me being patient, continuing to learn from others, has definitely helped me in my career.
What would you say? What's some of the best advice that you've had along the way? Like what are some standout points that like
Ooh,
maybe a
good one.
mentor or
Everyone you know needs to know what you do. That was a big one
Mhm.
for me because I wouldn't say, I would say a private person. I keep to my circle. I stay to myself and my family, and then I had to commit to social media, which I wasn't too excited about. But then I learned that that's the way to do it nowadays. It's the 21st century, and
Yeah.
Every time you go somewhere, people are looking down at their phone. Like, you can walk into a Starbucks, maybe
Right.
not today, but before this all happened, and 90% of the people are down looking at some kind of device. And if you can stay
Right.
in front of them, then that's a huge help. So social media was a big part of what the mentor taught me. Everyone needs to know, be patient, be consistent, and just have a passion for what you do and help other people.
Is your
Love it.
social media, do you just do organic, or do you use any paid ads, or
I don't. It's just all
just
me,
organic?
myself, and I. Every now and then I throw my family in there. I share my story, crack a couple jokes, say some facts that people need to hear, keep them motivated, inspirational stuff, just across the board.
That's awesome.
And when you first started that, you said that you were definitely more to yourself. And I think a lot of people can relate. There's a lot of people in our industry that don't do social media. How did
Right.
you overcome that? Like what got you to going from, I'm not posting anything, to like, now I'm posting about my family and I'm trying to motivate, like you're kind of running the gamut.
I got over what other people think a long time ago. And it has to do a lot to do with sports and just being on that stage and in front of the cameras and doing interviews. Like, I was comfortable and confident with who I am a long time ago. So just to be in front of people and put a camera where there's no one really around, it was a piece of cake for me. Like, there's really nobody there. I'm used to people watching physically rather than a camera looking at you the whole time. And people are going to judge you whether you do well or don't. You just have to be confident in yourself and understand you're doing the right thing to help other people, and let haters hate, I guess I should say. And
You
let
got
people
to
judge
be
you.
prepared for the haters, right? And
Yeah.
if you go to the NFL, or even when you're in college and you're telling people, I want to be in the NFL, I bet you more people would tell you, you know how hard it is to get, and give you all the reasons why you can't do it instead of the reasons why you can. It's just like when we started podcast, a year, 150 episodes ago, it's like, oh yeah, sure. You know how saturated that is. That's so hard to do. It's like, well, then let's grind it out. I mean, we've gotten plenty of the thumbs down. It's like, okay, we must be doing something right if we have the haters.
Exactly.
It's like, you just can't let it bug you. Can't let it get in your head.
And I tell my players that I coach that you're doing something right if people are hating you. If no one doesn't like what you're doing, you're not doing something right. You need to change the things that you're doing. Someone can hate.
Right. The people that get self-conscious and feel uncomfortable because you're doing better are going to be the haters. So if you don't have any, then you're not doing well.
Exactly. You're not doing the right things. You need to get more.
Yeah.
Yep. What would you say? So we usually ask this to insurance agents, and I'm just curious, what would you, what best advice you would give somebody coming into the mortgage industry if you had to give them one piece of advice, freshly new coming in? There might be an insurance dude out there that said, you know what, I'm switching industries. Cause I know, like you said, you started studying for the insurance. I mean, I did real estate before. I mean, it's so funny how the worlds are just so, they're so intertwined. Yeah, they are.
Same avenues. Advice for someone coming in as an LO. Back to what I was talking. Just be patient, man. Just be patient. It's gonna happen. You got into this business for the flexibility, most people, and to make some money, most people.
Right.
It's not gonna happen today. It's people. Or I actually was taught it's a 3-year plan. So the first year you're gonna drag your face through.
Yep.
SHIT, yeah. And then the second year will be mud, and then the third year will just be dirt, and you'll be able to dust it off, and then you'll know what you're doing after that. And that's kind of the approach that I tell myself, because when I first started, and at least got on my own, because I started consumer direct on the phone all the time. That first month, I was just like, I'm ready to go, and I'm not used to failing so much. And I was just like, man, am I doing something wrong? And I just reconnect with people that have been doing it. And they tell you, Mike, you're doing it. You're doing all the right things. You're doing the things on social media. You have to go through this. Remember the 3-year plan? And I just tell myself, well, I don't have 3 years, but at the same time, it's just part of life, really. You have to go through these steps to be successful.
Just
Yeah.
Most people give up.
consistency and keep going. Keep
Exactly.
going.
I like that analogy. Crap, mud, dirt for 3 years. And that's
Crap,
pretty much
mud,
in our industry too. I mean, it's
Mhm.
kind of the same thing. It's like, it's a lot of a grind. And those
It
who
is.
come out on the other side of the being consistent are awesome. And it's almost like
Exactly.
that grind also teaches you a ton. Mike,
It
I want to
does.
thank you so much for all this awesome advice. And I want to say that I love how you put your family and your kids in the forefront of what you're doing. And it's really cool. It's cool to have priorities.
Well, thank
For
you.
sure.
Thank you. That's the motivation. That's my why. I mean, why else would you do it? That's
Yeah.
what you're remembered. That's your legacy. It's
Yeah.
not what other people think. It's not what other people prove and things like that. Like, I don't have time for that. My job is to provide and make sure that they're taken care of. They're taught lessons that I wasn't taught, so they have a head start in life when
Yeah.
life presents itself to them.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Well, thank
Cool,
you,
man.
Mike. I am definitely going to reach out since you're right up the street, and we'll probably chat
Perfect.
some more.
Yeah,
Get some
anytime,
coffee.
anytime.
Yeah, get some coffee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me know
sure.
once we're allowed to
Yeah.
come out of the house. Let's do it.
Once they won't shoot us the moment we step outside.
Exactly.
It is Arizona. It's a little different here, Jason.
Yeah, right.
So, well, hey, Mike, thank you so much, man, and we look forward to chatting with you down the road.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Take care.
Anytime.
Yeah.
All right.
You got it, Mike. Have
Take
a good
care.
one.
You too.
Hey, you've got to check out the Insurance Dudes Inner Circle coming soon, where you get extended interviews as well as live coffee talks in our private Facebook group. Join the mailing list today at theinsurancedudespodcast.com. Hey, thanks for checking out The Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.